Welcome, I'm Dr. Janine Bowring, naturopathic doctor, and today I'm discussing chronic stress and adrenal fatigue. What is it? So in mainstream medicine, there's a whole debate whether adrenal issues actually exist, aside from having Addison's disease, which of course is much more serious than what we're talking about today. But adrenal fatigue is something that is talked about in circles of naturopathic and functional medicine. So addressing it, I believe, in my opinion, is an important thing, and taking care of our adrenal glands. But what a lot of people don't really realize is that the adrenal function is really controlled by its master, and its master is called the PVN, and this is part of the hypothalamus in the brain. And it's the PVN that actually is dictating the adrenals what to do. And of course, in times of stress, things get out of balance, and this is important to know. But if we take a look at this picture and the breakdown as to what's actually happening from the brain function perspective, we can appreciate that this does start much higher up, and it's not just an adrenal problem. So when we take a look at this picture, we can appreciate that high up in the brain in the hypothalamus, it's the PVN that is giving the signal first to the anterior pituitary, and the anterior pituitary, through that signaling from CRH, will now give that signal via the ACTH to our adrenal glands. And this is how we can see that now there's a negative feedback loop as well, that cortisol secretion from the adrenal glands is going to tell a signal back up to the brain. And that's why when we're just focusing on the adrenal function, when we're looking at adrenal fatigue and exhaustion and the effects of stress on our bodies, and not taking into account the brain function as well, then we're really missing the mark in how to treat this effectively. So there could be two facets of cortisol and the levels of cortisol. So you could have high cortisol, and that often happens at the beginning, where you're going to see a spike in cortisol later in the day. And typically our cortisol, it's supposed to be secreted first thing in the morning around 7 a.m., between 7 and 8 a.m. And this is shortly after the sunrise. And this is where we get that spike of cortisol to turn off our melatonin, which is our sleep hormone, and to wake us up and to give us that vital energy in the morning to go about our day and get our tasks done. Now, what can happen with the high cortisol is that you're going to see a spike later in the day, and this can be another indication that there is some offset of the normal functioning of the adrenal glands. Now, another phenomenon would be very low cortisol, and this could mean that that initial spike in the morning is not happening as it should. That can be related to poor sleep, but also to something called pregnenolone steal, in which our hormones in terms of DHEA, testosterone, and estrogen are all now depleted because that progesterone is being shunted towards the preferential making of more cortisol. So this can, you can appreciate, offset all of our hormones, and it's something that I've discussed in another video called pregnenolone steal. So you can check that out here on YouTube as well. So that's a little bit of the underpinnings as to how adrenal fatigue can become an issue. I hope that you learned something new, and it's a little bit different perspective of what you may have heard before in terms of treating the adrenals and adrenal exhaustion, especially as it's related to stress. Never forget about that brain function as well. So please give me a big thumbs up. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Be sure to share it with your friends and family as well. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Be sure that you're subscribed and you click that bell by turning on your notifications and all notifications, then you'll always get my newest and latest uploads. I thank you for joining me today, and remember to always take good care of your health and do it naturally.